Picture carrying a stranger within you, someone who is aware of your deepest fears, your most concealed desires, and all the parts of yourself that you would rather ignore. This stranger is not an outside individual, but a manifestation of your unconscious self, your shadow. The idea of the shadow was introduced by Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist of the 20th century. Jung posited that the shadow embodies the unconscious aspects of our personality that hold all the traits, emotions, and desires we consciously reject or suppress. These may include elements of our psyche that society has taught us to overlook or stifle, such as anger, jealousy, shame, guilt, and fear. Frequently, our shadow encompasses the parts of ourselves we are reluctant to confront because they clash with the image we wish to present to the world. It is the aspect of ourselves that we attempt to conceal, not only from others but also from our own awareness. Jung argued that the shadow is not inherently negative or malevolent. Rather, it is a natural component of being human. It represents the unconscious side of our personality that we often fear to recognize. Essentially, the shadow resembles an iceberg, with the majority of it submerged beneath the surface, affecting our behavior in ways we may not fully comprehend. Why do we suppress these facets of ourselves in the first place? The answer can be traced back to our early experiences. From an early age, we learn what behaviors are deemed acceptable and which are not. We are encouraged to show certain feelings, such as joy or affection, while often being taught to stifle others, like anger, sadness, or fear. For instance, many children are advised against crying or displaying vulnerability, leading them to conceal these natural emotions as they mature. This suppression isn't always deliberate. It occurs as we strive to conform to societal expectations, learning that some traits are viewed as negative or undesirable. As time passes, we start to reject aspects of ourselves in pursuit of approval and to evade criticism. However, these repressed emotions do not vanish. Instead, they become buried in our unconscious, continuing to influence us. They can surface in subtle ways through behaviors we may not fully comprehend, such as feeling irrationally angry in specific situations or experiencing unexplained fear towards certain individuals or events. These repressed feelings act like ticking time bombs in our psyche, poised to explode when provoked. The more we try to suppress them, the more control they exert over our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Living with an unacknowledged shadow is akin to having a hidden master that governs your thoughts and behaviors without your awareness. The effects can be subtle yet significant. Have you ever found yourself reacting to a situation with overwhelming emotion, be it anger, fear, or sadness, and questioned the source of that reaction? Or maybe you've had a moment of self-sabotage where you felt like you weren't in control of your own behavior. These instances often occur when your shadow is at play in the background, affecting your reactions without your conscious knowledge. It could be a brief, unexpected annoyance that leads you to snap at someone you care about, or it might be a profound, irrational fear that stops you from pursuing something you've always desired. The shadow influences your actions, frequently without your awareness, and when these patterns arise, they create a cycle of pain and confusion that keeps you trapped. However, the reality is that by ignoring the shadow, you are merely allowing it to keep manipulating your life. The more you attempt to deny its existence, the more it will dictate your actions from behind the scenes. This is why engaging in shadow work is so crucial. It aids in bringing these hidden aspects into your conscious awareness, allowing you to understand and transform them. At its essence, shadow work involves illuminating these unconscious parts of ourselves and bringing them into the light of consciousness. It involves recognizing the aspects of yourself that you have been avoiding, rejecting, or concealing. This process is not about eradicating your shadow or altering your fundamental self. Rather, it focuses on integrating these suppressed elements so they no longer dominate your life. It's about comprehending them, gaining insights from them, and harnessing their power for your benefit. Shadow work requires you to face your fears, desires, and emotions, those hidden parts of yourself, and accept them as integral to your identity. It takes bravery to confront the darker sides of yourself, but this confrontation initiates a path toward self-discovery and healing. The aim is not to eliminate your shadow, but to learn how to live alongside it and use it as a catalyst for personal growth. Only by addressing these concealed aspects can you attain genuine self-awareness and liberation. Without this integration, you may find yourself trapped in cycles of denial, repeating harmful behaviors time and again. Shadow work is a transformative journey that enables you to live more authentically, consciously, and with enhanced emotional freedom. Have you ever questioned why you respond so strongly to certain events, or why certain patterns recur in your life despite your efforts to change? These instances often indicate that your shadow is subtly influencing you. The shadow works behind the scenes, shaping your thoughts, actions, and reactions without your conscious awareness. You might believe that you are making choices based on your own free will, but in truth, your shadow self is in control, and you are merely along for the journey. A clear indication that your shadow is leading the way is when you notice yourself falling into harmful patterns, particularly in your relationships. You may find yourself consistently drawn to the same type of toxic individuals, or you might undermine your own achievements just as things begin to improve. These behaviors suggest that your unconscious mind is operating from unresolved trauma, fear, or shame. Your shadow is attracting these circumstances not out of a conscious wish, but as a way to grab your attention. It's as if your shadow is yelling, "You need to confront this." Yet, instead of heeding this call, you keep making the same errors, oblivious to the deeper influences at play within you. Another sign that your shadow is in charge is when you have strong emotional responses to trivial matters. Perhaps a comment from someone triggers an irrational surge of anger, or a minor setback sends you into a whirlwind of frustration or anxiety. These heightened reactions often reflect the shadow's presence. They highlight unprocessed feelings, unresolved past issues, or neglected parts of yourself that are crying out for recognition. Rather than tackling the actual problem, you are unconsciously responding to a deeper, unhealed wound. These emotional eruptions act like alarms in your mind, signaling that there are significant issues lurking beneath the surface that you need to address. However, many individuals tend to overlook these signals, viewing them merely as instances of bad luck or overreactions. In reality, they offer insights into your shadow self, and by learning to heed them, you can enhance your self-awareness. Your shadow also has a distinct way of making you feel immobilized. You might sense that you're unable to progress in life, regardless of your efforts, whether in your career, relationships, or personal development. This feeling of being trapped in a cycle of stagnation often stems from neglected shadow work. When the unconscious mind goes unacknowledged, it builds up pressure, leading to an internal resistance to change. Your shadow clings to beliefs, fears, and habits that hinder you from realizing your full potential. The more deeply these issues are repressed, the greater the resistance to breaking free from old patterns. You may appear to be doing everything right on the outside, but internally, something is holding you back. This is your shadow influencing your actions in ways you may not yet recognize. To overcome this resistance, you must confront the uncomfortable aspects of yourself that you've been avoiding, and acknowledge the fears or beliefs that keep you stuck. Another clear indication that your shadow is in control is the tendency for self-sabotage. It can be so subtle that you might not even notice it, but if you pay attention, you'll realize that whenever something positive occurs in your life, you somehow find a way to undermine it. Perhaps you delay important tasks or distance yourself from those who truly care about you. You might even engage in self-destructive behaviors in subtle ways, such as negative self-talk or avoiding situations where you could thrive. This tendency to self-sabotage often arises from a fear of success, a deep-seated belief that you don't deserve happiness, or an unconscious wish to stay within a comfort zone. Even if that zone is harmful, your shadow flourishes during these moments of self-sabotage, reinforcing old patterns of shame and feelings of inadequacy. The fear of success can be as intense as the fear of failure, and the shadow exploits both to keep you ensnared in cycles of self-doubt and destruction. Imagine dedicating the next 30 days to confronting the aspects of yourself you've been avoiding for years. What if you could examine your deepest fears, your most uncomfortable emotions, and your darkest traits with curiosity instead of judgment? This is the core of the 30-day Shadow Work Challenge. It's a pledge to confront your unconscious self, to bring those hidden aspects into the open, and to do so every day for an entire month. This journey is not simple. It demands courage, vulnerability, and honesty, but the benefits are significant. Throughout a 30-day period, you will begin to observe changes in your self-perception, your interactions with others, and your approach to the challenges you face. The essence of this challenge lies in consistency. It's not about achieving drastic transformations overnight, but rather committing time each day to genuinely connect with your inner self. The aim is to slowly cultivate an awareness of your shadow, those aspects of yourself that have been concealed, suppressed, or ignored, and to initiate the integration process, So, how do you embark on this journey? How can you engage in this transformative practice daily? The first step in the 30-day shadow work challenge is to carve out time for self-reflection. Dedicate a specific moment each day, whether in the morning, during lunch, or before sleep, to be alone and in silence. This time is sacred. It's a commitment to being fully present with yourself, free from distractions or judgment. You don't need a unique environment or a specific method to start, but you should approach this time with purpose. Begin by simply observing your thoughts, feelings, and reactions. Pay attention to your emotions in the moment, what triggers them, and any feelings that seem to arise unexpectedly. These instances are chances to connect with your shadow. When you experience a strong reaction, ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What does this reveal about me? Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings, approaching them with curiosity rather than criticism. Keep in mind that this journey is about self-discovery, not self-fixing. The more regularly you dedicate time each day to reflect, the more you will begin to uncover the deeper aspects of your mind. As you progress through the 30-day shadow work challenge, journaling will become a vital tool. Documenting your thoughts, feelings, and experiences is one of the most effective methods to bring your shadow into conscious awareness. The process of journaling encourages you to slow down and explore your inner self. It provides a platform for the parts of you that have been muted, allowing them to express themselves. Start each journaling session with straightforward questions. What am I hesitant to acknowledge? What aspects of myself do I reject or feel ashamed of? These inquiries are meant to push you beyond your comfort zone, helping you delve into the emotions and beliefs you've been sidestepping. Don't be concerned if you can't find immediate answers. Simply let your thoughts flow onto the page without judgment or restraint. Over time, you will start to identify patterns in your writing, recurring themes, hidden fears, and unresolved issues. These are indications of your shadow seeking recognition. Journaling is an incredibly powerful method for revealing these concealed elements and initiating the integration process. The third step in this challenge involves learning to embrace discomfort. Shadow work is not about always feeling pleasant. It's about acknowledging and sitting with the difficult emotions and thoughts that surface during the process. As you begin to confront the aspects of yourself you previously avoided, you'll likely encounter resistance. Feelings of embarrassment, anger, or shame may arise. This is entirely natural. The important thing is to face these emotions rather than fleeing from them, as resisting them only gives these hidden parts of yourself greater control. By allowing yourself to experience the discomfort and work through it, you gradually reduce the hold your shadow has on your life. Think of it as strengthening a muscle. Growth requires working through the challenging moments. Though difficult, this step is vital in shadow work. By committing to facing these uncomfortable truths daily, you start to rewire your mind and liberate yourself from old behavioral patterns. Over the span of 30 days, you'll notice that these uncomfortable moments will feel less overwhelming. You will cultivate a stronger sense of emotional resilience and a more profound connection to your true self. The final phase of the 30-day shadow work challenge involves integrating your insights. This is where genuine transformation occurs. Through reflection, journaling, and confronting your discomfort, you may have uncovered aspects of yourself that were once concealed. These could include suppressed fears, limiting beliefs, or unresolved emotional pain. The aim of shadow work is not to eliminate these elements but to accept and understand them, using them as a catalyst for growth. The integration process requires you to recognize these parts of yourself and allow them to coexist with your conscious identity. Rather than attempting to dismiss them, you learn to collaborate with them. You begin to view them not as adversaries but as guides, providing valuable perspectives on your identity and behavior. This journey takes time, but with persistent effort, you will start to notice a significant change in how you perceive yourself and the world around you. After dedicating 30 days to shadow work, you may not have resolved every issue, but you will have embarked on a path of profound self-awareness and healing that will continue to evolve over the coming months and years. Journaling is one of the most powerful tools for shadow work, yet it is often overlooked. In a world full of distractions, taking the time to write can seem like a daunting task. When it comes to facing your shadow, journaling transcends being just a habit. It serves as a portal to self-discovery and change. The true value of journaling lies in its capacity to provide a safe environment for you to articulate thoughts and feelings that you might be too scared to acknowledge, even to yourself. Your shadow flourishes in secrecy, and silence lurking in the hidden recesses of your mind. By documenting your innermost thoughts, emotions, and fears, you enable your unconscious to emerge in ways that are both impactful and healing. As you embark on your journaling journey, don't stress about structure, grammar, or style. This process isn't about crafting something polished. It's about being genuine, candid, and open. The goal is to illuminate the parts of yourself that you've kept hidden so they no longer exert power over you. What truths are you reluctant to face? What feelings have you buried so deeply that you might not even recognize them? Journaling provides the opportunity to explore these questions with a freedom that is hard to find elsewhere. Initially, writing may feel awkward or uncomfortable. You might experience hesitation, struggling to articulate your thoughts fully. This is entirely normal. After all, the essence of shadow work is to confront the aspects of yourself that you've been avoiding. This is entirely normal. The essence of shadow work is to face the aspects of yourself that you have been avoiding for years. The initial discomfort you experience is merely the resistance of your unconscious mind trying to maintain the current state. However, as you persist in writing daily, something remarkable occurs. You start to dismantle the barriers that have been hindering your progress. Thoughts that once seemed too painful to address will begin to pour onto the page. You may write about your fears, regrets, or moments of shame, but you might also discover desires and dreams that you have buried because they didn't align with your ideal self-image. These elements of your shadow need to be acknowledged, not to criticize you, but to facilitate your healing and growth. Journaling provides a voice for your shadow, enabling you to reclaim your power. As you delve deeper into journaling, you will start to notice patterns emerging in your writing. These patterns often serve as clues that point to the hidden facets of yourself that you have been avoiding. You might observe a recurring theme of fear, or perhaps you'll find yourself repeatedly writing about the same traumatic experience from your past. These repetitions are not mere coincidences. They are indications that your shadow is trying to bring your attention to unresolved issues or emotions that require acknowledgement. When you notice these recurring patterns, don't avoid them. Instead, embrace them, investigate their significance, and reflect on why they keep surfacing. What messages are they conveying to you? As you continue to write, these themes will become more apparent, revealing the core beliefs, fears, and experiences that have influenced your reality. The journey of journaling and shadow work goes beyond merely articulating your thoughts. It involves analyzing them, understanding their roots, and taking responsibility for them. Through this exploration, you can begin to integrate your shadow, transforming it from a force that governs you into a valuable source of insight and strength. One of the most impactful benefits of journaling is its ability to help you monitor your progress. Shadow work is not a quick fix. It is a long-term endeavor, and sometimes progress may seem gradual. However, when you revisit your journal entries from the beginning, you may be surprised by how much you have grown. Initially, you might have expressed your fears, insecurities, and unresolved pain, but over time, you will likely observe changes in your writing. You may start to write with more compassion, understanding, and even gratitude for the parts of yourself you once rejected. You might find that your fears no longer feel as daunting as they once did, or that you are beginning to reconcile with aspects of yourself that previously felt intolerable. Journaling not only provides a chance to express your deepest feelings, but it also enables you to observe your own transformation as it unfolds. By the conclusion of your shadow work journey, your journal will be filled with narratives of your healing, growth, and self-discovery. It will serve as a testament to your bravery, resilience, and dedication to confronting the hidden aspects of yourself. One of the most impactful and challenging techniques in shadow work is the mirror technique. This exercise compels you to look at yourself directly, not just in a physical sense, but also at the parts of your soul that you have been avoiding. The essence of this technique is straightforward. You stand before a mirror and gaze into your own eyes, consciously recognizing the facets of yourself that you have denied or suppressed. While it may seem simple, many people find this exercise profoundly uncomfortable, if not disturbing. Why is that? Because the act of gazing at yourself with honesty requires you to confront your own darkness. Those elements of your psyche that you would prefer to overlook, whether they involve shame, guilt, anger, or fear. Your shadow resides within these emotions, and when you look into the mirror, you are compelled to confront them directly. The mirror technique is not about criticizing yourself. It's about embracing who you are. It involves creating space for every part of yourself, Not just the positive traits you present to others, but also the aspects you've tried to suppress. Initially, you might struggle to remain in front of the mirror for an extended period. You may feel an internal resistance that pushes you to look away or dismiss what you see. This is your shadow attempting to evade recognition. However, if you can endure the discomfort, you will start to observe something extraordinary. Your reflection begins to transform. Instead of merely seeing a face, you start to uncover deeper layers of your identity. You might recognize your own insecurities looking back at you. Perhaps you'll see the vulnerability you've always concealed from others. You may even begin to address past traumas that you've carried for a long time. Although it may feel unsettling, this marks the start of your healing journey. The more you engage with the mirror technique, the easier it becomes to sit with your discomfort and acknowledge the truths beneath the surface. You will come to understand that these parts of yourself are not adversaries, but rather aspects that require your attention and compassion. The mirror technique also promotes speaking to yourself with kindness and understanding. While standing in front of a mirror, try conversing with yourself as if you were your closest friend. Recognize the aspects of yourself that you may have overlooked and extend them compassion. Use phrases like, "I see your suffering," "I accept you just as you are," or "It's okay to feel this way." These affirmations do not aim to dismiss the pain or darkness you are experiencing. Rather, they grant you permission to feel without judgment. By speaking to yourself in this manner, you are actively reshaping your relationship with your shadow. Instead of fleeing from your fears, you are embracing them. This practice of self-compassion is crucial for integrating the shadow, as it enables you to accept the parts of yourself that have been concealed or rejected. Over time, you will likely notice that your self-talk becomes more kind, gentle, and supportive. This transformation in your internal dialogue is one of the most important results of shadow work. Additionally, the mirror technique enhances your self-awareness. By gazing into your own eyes and recognizing your feelings and emotions, you are compelled to slow down and focus on your inner processes. Dialogue is a key outcome of shadow work, and the mirror technique significantly contributes to building self-awareness. You are compelled to slow down and focus on the inner workings of your mind. You begin to see how your shadow affects your actions, relationships, and reactions. You might notice defensive patterns when faced with criticism, or perhaps you'll realize how often you undermine yourself just as you approach success. These insights are essential for personal development, as they shed light on the unconscious forces that shape your behavior. The mirror technique helps you become aware of these hidden influences, enabling you to consciously manage your responses to the world around you. Rather than reacting based on habits or old patterns, you start to make decisions from a place of awareness, gradually loosening the hold your shadow has on your life. Additionally, the mirror technique reminds you that your shadow is not separate from you. It is a fundamental aspect of your being. We often perceive the shadow as something external, to be feared or rejected. However, the reality is that the shadow reflects our own inner landscape. It contains the parts of ourselves that we have disowned, but it also holds the keys to our personal development. When you gaze into the mirror and face your darkness, you are not merely confronting something foreign or wrong. You are confronting yourself. In this context, the mirror technique illustrates that the only way to truly integrate your shadow is by accepting it as a part of your identity. This acceptance does not imply that you endorse harmful behaviors or negative habits. Rather, it signifies that you acknowledge your flaws, allowing yourself the opportunity to heal and grow. As you continue to practice this technique, you'll come to understand that your shadow is not something to be feared or shunned. It is an aspect of your soul yearning for understanding, love, and acceptance. Triggers are often perceived as hindrances, instances that provoke emotional turmoil or reactive behavior. Whether it's a remark from someone, a situation that makes you feel inadequate, or an unexpected memory that resurfaces, the reality is that each trigger you encounter serves as a signpost directing you to something deeper within, something unresolved or concealed in your shadow. The secret to transforming these painful moments into chances for growth lies in awareness. Instead of reacting instantly with anger, shame, or fear, you have the ability to pause and reflect. What lesson is this trigger trying to impart? Why does it evoke such a strong emotional reaction? By changing your perspective, you can utilize your triggers as a means to enhance your self-awareness and access the parts of your psyche that require healing. When a trigger arises, the initial step is to resist the impulse to react immediately. This might involve taking several deep breaths, removing yourself from the situation, or simply pausing for a brief moment before you respond. During these pauses, consider asking yourself, what emotions are surfacing within me right now? What feelings are coming to the forefront? Often, the trigger is less about the current situation and more about something deeper, such as a fear of rejection, feelings of inadequacy, or unresolved trauma. The more you can acknowledge these emotions, the better you'll begin to understand their origins. For instance, if someone criticizes you and you experience a strong wave of defensiveness, take a moment to reflect, why does this criticism impact me so deeply? What aspect of this situation feels threatening? You may discover a fear of not being good enough or a long-held belief that you are unworthy. These insights can be transformative as they help you connect the trigger to your inner struggles and initiate the healing process. After identifying the emotion or belief linked to the trigger, the next step is to delve into its origins. Where did this feeling first arise in your life? Frequently, our triggers are associated with past experiences, childhood wounds, painful memories, or negative messages we receive from others. For instance, if you faced frequent criticism during your childhood, you may have developed the belief that you are inadequate. As an adult, this could lead to strong emotional responses whenever you encounter criticism. Recognizing the roots of these triggers allows you to understand how your past shapes your present experiences. This is where the true strength of shadow work comes into play. By confronting these hidden beliefs and feelings, you start to illuminate them, diminishing their power over you. Rather than reacting automatically to triggers, you can respond with awareness and personal strength. This enables you to break free from the patterns that have constrained you and to foster a healthier relationship with your emotions. Additionally, triggers remind us that the shadow is not something to be feared or eliminated. It is not a monster that will ruin you. Rather, it is a part of yourself that seeks acknowledgement. When you respond to a trigger with awareness, you stop avoiding or repressing your shadow and instead allow it to emerge and be recognized. In this way, triggers become invitations to reconcile with your deepest emotions and beliefs. They are not barriers to dodge, but chances for personal development. Each time you approach a trigger with curiosity rather than reactivity, you move closer to integrating your shadow. This is where true transformation occurs, not by evading pain, but by transforming it into a moment of insight and comprehension. The more you engage in this practice, the more you will start to view triggers as valuable gifts, resources that lead you toward healing and deeper self-awareness. It's crucial to keep in mind that this journey requires time. Shadow work is not about achieving perfection, it's about making progress. As you continue to observe your triggers and convert them into moments of awareness, it will become easier over time. You will gradually notice that your emotional responses to certain situations begin to diminish. What once provoked feelings of anger or despair may now seem less intense or even trivial. This illustrates the power of engaging with your shadow. By consistently shining a light on the unconscious aspects of yourself, you start to alter the patterns that have governed your life. You become more emotionally resilient, more self-aware, and gain greater control over your reactions. Ultimately, this journey of working with triggers is about reclaiming your power and taking charge of your emotions. Rather than letting triggers dictate your actions, you start to take charge of your responses, fostering a more mindful, empowered, and genuine way of living. Committing to 30 days of shadow work may initially feel overwhelming. Delving into your unconscious mind, facing your deepest fears, and confronting the aspects of yourself you've neglected demands significant bravery. But what occurs after those 30 days? What transformations can you anticipate after engaging in this process of profound self-reflection and emotional healing? The reality is that the changes within you are both subtle and significant. It's not about reaching perfection or achieving instant enlightenment. Rather, it's about becoming more aware, authentic, and at peace with who you are. The first and most apparent change you will notice is an increase in self-awareness. You will start to recognize how your past wounds, traumas, and repressed emotions have influenced your current reality. You'll begin to identify the unconscious patterns that have governed your life, such as self-sabotage, people-pleasing tendencies, or recurring emotional triggers, and you will gain the insight needed to liberate yourself from them. This enhanced self-awareness empowers you to move out of autopilot and take control of your life. Instead of reacting based on old habits, you will start to respond from a place of conscious decision-making. One significant change that often takes place after 30 days of shadow work is an enhancement in emotional resilience. As you face your shadow and incorporate the aspects of yourself that you've been neglecting, you start to cultivate a more robust and stable sense of self. You become capable of enduring discomfort and emotional pain without feeling overwhelmed. You gain the skill to process emotions as they come up instead of pushing them down or ignoring them. This emotional resilience enables you to handle life's challenges with greater ease and poise. Situations that previously provoked strong reactions, such as frustration, anger, or sadness, may start to feel less unsettling. The essence of this transformation is your willingness to confront your emotions rather than flee from them. By accepting your shadow, you prevent it from dictating your emotional reactions. Consequently, you begin to tackle life's challenges from a place of calm clarity and inner strength. After 30 days of shadow work, you might also notice a change in your relationships. As you learn to embrace and love yourself, imperfections included, you become more capable of accepting others in the same manner. You will cease projecting your insecurities, fears, and judgments onto those around you. As you mend the fragmented parts of yourself, you begin to establish more genuine and meaningful connections with others. As you grow more confident in your self-worth, you'll find that the desire for validation and approval from others diminishes. This transformation in self-love and acceptance enables you to cultivate healthier, more balanced relationships while releasing toxic dynamics that no longer benefit you. Whether with family, friends, or romantic partners, the connections you establish after engaging in shadow work are grounded in mutual respect, understanding, and emotional depth. Your ability to empathize expands as you gain insight into your own shadow and that of others, facilitating connections rooted in compassion and non-judgment. One of the most significant changes after 30 days of shadow work is the emergence of inner peace and self-acceptance. For many, this journey involves fully embracing all aspects of themselves, both light and dark. It's about shedding the shame, guilt, and self-criticism that have prevented you from truly loving who you are. Once you confront your shadow and assimilate its lessons, you start to feel a profound sense of inner tranquility. You no longer find yourself in conflict with your inner self. Instead, you have embraced your imperfections and acknowledged your flaws as integral to your human journey. This acceptance grants you a deep sense of liberation. You are free from the burden of suppressed emotions, unfulfilled needs, and unresolved issues. You can now fully embrace who you are without the fear of being judged or rejected. This inner tranquility also reflects outwardly as you start to attract circumstances, opportunities, and individuals that resonate with your renewed sense of self-worth and authenticity. It's essential to understand that the transformation you undergo after 30 days of shadow work is merely a starting point, not a conclusion. This journey is continuous, with each day presenting fresh chances for growth, healing, and integration. The 30-day challenge acts as a springboard for enduring change, but the responsibility to keep progressing lies with you. The more you engage in shadow work, the deeper your understanding of yourself and your surroundings will become. The transformation extends beyond those initial 30 days. It persists as you face your shadow, accept your emotions, and take charge of your healing. As you navigate this journey, you will become more attuned to your soul's needs, leading you to a life that feels more in harmony with your true essence. The ultimate outcome is not merely an improved version of yourself, but a more genuine, empowered, and profoundly connected representation of who you are meant to be. The reality of shadow work is that most individuals will never take this journey. They might hear about it, read about it, or feel curious about the idea of confronting their unconscious mind. Yet very few will actually engage in the process. Why is that? Because shadow work requires vulnerability, bravery, and the readiness to face aspects of ourselves that we would prefer to overlook. It can be uncomfortable and painful, necessitating the release of familiar patterns that have provided us with a sense of safety, even if they are unhealthy. Most people are not prepared for this level of profound self-exploration. They are too attached to their ego, too fearful of the darkness within, and too comfortable in their routines to push themselves in this manner. Many choose to live on autopilot, responding to life based on past wounds and ingrained beliefs, never fully tapping into their potential. Shadow work calls for us to break away from these patterns and to welcome the challenging journey of self-discovery. It is a path that requires honesty, dedication, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. However, you can. Reacting to life based on past wounds and conditioned beliefs never fully realizes your potential. Shadow work requires us to break free from these patterns, and to embrace the uncomfortable journey of self-discovery. This journey requires honesty, dedication, and a willingness to confront the unknown. However, you can choose to be among the few who take this route. You have the power to confront your inner struggles directly and accept the discomfort that accompanies this process. By committing to the challenging work of self-awareness and self-acceptance, you set yourself apart from those who never take this leap. It all comes down to the choice to take that initial step, choosing to stop fleeing from your fears, avoiding your pain, and allowing unconscious habits to control your life. Shadow work is not for the timid, but if you are prepared to engage in this effort, it can profoundly change your life in ways you never thought possible. It involves breaking free from the limitations of your past and embracing your true strength. It's about releasing the image of who you think you ought to be and accepting your authentic self. The benefits of this work are significant. As you integrate your shadow, you will find a deeper sense of self-acceptance, emotional strength, and inner tranquility. You will align more closely with your true self, free from the constraints of old self-sabotaging behaviors and fears. This alignment will lead to healthier relationships, more rewarding opportunities, and a life that truly reflects your essence. You will navigate life with increased clarity, purpose, and confidence. Your shadow no longer has control over you. Instead, it transforms into a wellspring of wisdom and strength, leading you toward your fullest potential. This is the change that shadow work can bring, but it is only accessible to those who are prepared to confront their darkness and embark on a journey of self-exploration. So, if you're ready to begin this adventure, don't wait for the ideal moment. Don't expect life to shift on its own. The only way to move forward is to take action. Decide today to face your shadow and embrace the journey of transformation. It may not be easy, but it will be worthwhile. Keep in mind that the work doesn't end after 30 days. It's a lifelong path of growth and integration. Each step you take brings you closer to the person you were always meant to become. You possess the ability to change your life, to break free from old habits, and to step into a future filled with authenticity, peace, and purpose. If you're ready to start, click that subscribe button, and please leave a like on this video if you found it helpful. I encourage you to return daily for more insights and challenges to support you on your shadow work journey. Each video will bring you nearer to the transformation you desire. Let's continue this path of self-discovery together. Remember, the hardest part is getting started, and you've already made that choice. Now take the next step and commit to your own growth. Stay strong, stay present, and keep engaging with your shadow. You will be unrecognizable by the end of this process.